come to me with some of their results, and I basically said these results are shit. So I'm sorry to the people who are so friggin' impatient that they won't get off their butt and go learn this stuff and do it themselves. I'm not your daddy. I'm not here to do things for you. I'm sorry. Get out of your basement and go do something. I've seen some of those snap your fingers reports, and they're garbage. Publish the darn paper. Stop claiming that. This is shoddy work. This can't go anywhere. Who did this? It's crap.
Getting to the point, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to start doing a lot less. You're going to notice a huge, I'm going to do a few more to finish up my obligations, but I'm not doing these much longer. This is it. You want more of the same, then go back to the last 70 years of bullshit, because that's what people think you are. They think you're full of shit because you talk about wacky stuff, you've got no evidence, and because he said he wrote a book on something, what does that mean? It means nothing. You got to show evidence. You got to, where are the bona fides? Where are the videos? Where's the reports? Where's the discussions to Congress and the classified briefings? They're nowhere, because I haven't seen them on the Hill when I'm there. I haven't seen them in DC when I'm going by the Pentagon or anywhere else. They're not in those meetings. So you're not going to stop me from doing my pursuits, because I'm taking this very seriously. And I think, I was, when I first came into this, people told me, oh, ufology eats its own. I'm like, what the hell is ufology? I don't even know what that is. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been, I never will be. So stop wrapping me into that. I am not into ufology. I'm not. In fact, it was up to me, I'd blow it up into a million pieces, as I said before.
I got scrapings off Jim's balls. 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 I got scrapings off Jim's balls.
Garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle. Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, and I ain't in it, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, and I ain't in it, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, and I ain't in it, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Cosmic Con Shuffle, Cosmic Con Shuffle, garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Garbage at a club, and I ain't in it. Yeah.
Now, goddamn it, Bobby, I don't care what Chris Mellon said on Fox News. You're not giving money to that Blink-182 fella.
But Dad, they promised to build a spaceship.
No one's building a spaceship, Bobby.
But the Daily Mail reported that.
Those people are all insane.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Before we begin tonight, I just want to mention that I apologize. Yesterday and all week we've said we were going to have Emily Louise from Emily Louise Weird Reads by Emily Louise on tonight, but she's feeling a little bit under the weather. It seems like that's going around. I'm just recovering myself from a terrible bout with COVID. I hope that's not what she has, but she's feeling a little under the weather. So we decided to reschedule for next week. So instead tonight, we're going to be doing open lines, open calls. We've got several people waiting in the wings already. So we're going to jump right in. I just wanted to mention that the link to join the show is in the description, or excuse me, is in the live chat. It's pinned right at the top of the live chat in the YouTube live chat. I'll see if I can't put it into the other chats, the Rumble chat, the Twitch chat, and the Facebook live feed and the Twitter feed as well, while we're talking to our guests tonight. I see we have Eilish de Avalon is the first caller. And by the way, we're doing this in order. So right now we've got Eilish and Fern. So we've got two callers here, which means we're doing these in order. So the order in which you call in is the order in which we bring you on the show. Our first guest tonight is Eilish de Avalon. Welcome there, Eilish. Nice to see you.
Hi, Steve. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you all. I just want to thank you, Steve, for doing such an amazing job with, disclosing these scammers, these alternative media hucksters, as you call them. For a while, I was sucked into David Wilcock, unfortunately. And my history with interviewing Eva Brockbrader.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was, like many of us, fooled there for a while, but I just wanted to thank you for opening so many people's eyes and really, doing such a great job with your research and your discovery.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah.
You want to tell us about, you have I gotta go to your Facebook. You have like a gypsy wagon. You have a full on like reproduced kind of gypsy wagon, right?
Yeah, so I have a gypsy wagon called Poppy, and I go around to markets and festivals. I'm one of those crystal hippie bitches.
I love crystal hippie bitches, though. I have a lot of friends who are crystal hippie bitches. It's okay. I mean crystal hippie bitch as a term of endearment.
Yeah. Yeah, so I go around and I pretty much live the festival lifestyle. So I go around to all the hippie festivals and the markets, and I'm loving this side of alternative media, Steve. It's really refreshing. I did some info busting against Kevin Annette years ago with Mel V on Conscious Consumer Network, and I just really applaud what you're doing, to open people's eyes with these people that just never ending.
Look at this. We've got
agents. Yes,
it looks like an old school, like, oh, sorry. It
Oops.
Looks like I have to find the other pictures, but it looks like an old school gypsy wagon that the old school fortune tellers would use.
That's right. Yeah. So my background is actually Hungarian Transylvanian. So Transylvania is now in Romania, but a lot of people still there use horse and cart. So I wanted to incorporate the folk art, that my mother's embroidery, Yeah, I wanted to
Wow, yeah.
incorporate that. I hand painted it, I commissioned it, and I'm now working in that. So if people have been wondering what I've been doing since I left Conscious Consumer Network, I've pretty much just been delving into folk art and you know, doing some of the old ways. But yeah, I just really applaud you because you are such a breath of fresh air.
Well,
You've
thank you.
opened
I thought somebody had to do it. Somebody should do it. That's what I thought.
yeah. So thanks, Steve, so much. I'm one of your biggest fans, so thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a,
Yeah,
I didn't
isn't
mean
she
to.
beautiful? Isn't she beautiful? I hand painted it. Yeah.
That looks like quite a project. You can live in that thing, it looks like, right?
You can sleep in the back, and there's heaps of storage space for massage tables and harmoniums and, you know, all sorts of things. So it's all rigged up. It's got a chandelier inside, my mother's embroidery. So she's lots of fun, and she's quite eye-catching when you take her around to festivals. And I usually have a queue of people. So it's just really nice doing some counseling and you know, doing some insight for people. But you know, I just really wanted to, you know, thank you for all the hard work that you've done over the years, and
Well, I
I
appreciate
really
that.
hope that your following is growing accordingly. And I saw your post today about how they're limiting your monetization because you're daring to criticize some of these scammers, and I was absolutely horrified. I'm like, you're telling the
Yeah.
actual truth, and here you are being limited in your in your monetization, and I was just shattered for you, Steve. I just know what YouTube's like with my own delving into
Yeah,
old.
and for those that don't, for those that missed the post, I made a post today, essentially complaining, because YouTube is essentially saying, here's what I wrote: YouTube is essentially saying that if you are a scammer telling people on YouTube to take baths in your own piss to get superpowers, you can be fully monetized. But if you make a video critical of that, your videos cannot be monetized. And the same goes for Corey Good Stories. And by the way, I did a little bit of an audit today, and I found out that almost every time we make a video critical of Corey Good or David Wilcock, whether for whatever reason, the videos get demonetized. Little to no ads. But those guys always have ads. They're fully monetized. They can say whatever they want on YouTube, and they can earn all the ad revenue on YouTube they want to. But if you make a video critical of what they're doing, your videos get demonetized. And I talked to several other people today who reached out to me who said the same thing. So I hate to get conspiratorial, but I'm starting to think that those guys are connected with some kind of government agency or three-letter agency. Because why should they be allowed to be monetized, but anybody critical of them gets instantly demonetized? Now, it may be that I cursed too much or something. So we've taken note of this, though. And the next time that I cover them, I am going to make a point of not cursing once for the whole stream. I'll just find another way to say bullshit or whatever, because I don't want to give them an excuse or reason. YouTube could just say, well, you cursed too much in this, so we demonetized it or whatever. So going forward, we'll be as professional a broadcaster as we can, as we're pointing out that these two clowns are literally on YouTube scamming people and giving people false information, even false medical information. David Wilcock has done that multiple times. He's still got a YouTube channel. He's still fully monetized, but we can't be critical of him or we get demonetized.
There should be something in regards to consumer fraud with that, Steve,
I know. I've been saying the problem is it's such a gray area. There really needs to be better laws in the United States to protect people. I think especially if these guys spend 8 years telling people these are true stories, and then under oath, Corey Good says, I've never been to space. So they couldn't have been true stories. So you basically defrauded the public selling stories you said were true for 8 years, and now it turns out they're not. To me, that is a form of consumer fraud. I think so.
Yeah, and the fact that you're telling the truth, I wonder about these intel agents. If there's so many of them, and they come from the three-letter agencies, but they also come from certain religious orders as well, you know, and it all goes back, you know, as they say, all roads lead to Rome. So, but you know,
Yeah.
we have to be careful about how much we criticize the establishment. But oh my goodness, it just all seems to point back there. Even now, when I reflect upon, you know, the whole Bill Brockbrader scam, you know, I and the fact that there's other Navy SEALs doing similar things, you know, calling themselves Archangel Michael, like Michael Jaco. So if Michael Jaco is reincarnated Archangel Michael, then who's David Wilcock channeling? Michael Jaco? You know, like it just
Yeah, and Michael Jaco is interesting though, because I looked into him and he is an actual former Navy SEAL. Which is a rarity. Normally, the people who say they're Navy SEALs were never in the Navy. He actually was a former Navy SEAL. And someone once close to him told me that he saw all the money the grifters were making, and he has an interest in strange and esoteric things. So he just decided that's how he was going to make money in his retirement from the Navy. He was going to make extra money joining the grifter squad, essentially, you know. And he uses his legitimacy as a former Navy SEAL to sell whatever it is that he's selling, you know.
And pretty much anyone who's doing alternative media these days, if they're having the likes of Ishmael Perez on their site as an interviewee, then they've lost all credibility as far as I'm concerned. And what a shame Mike Adams on Natural News interviewed David Wilcock, because you know the good work that Mike Adams
used to be good, and he used to be a good person in the alternative space, but he went full wackadoo.
So when he interviewed David Wilcock, it kind of discredited him. So that's what I'm quite disappointed in some of these people I used to look up to, you know.
Yeah, well, it is disappointing, you know, and I don't know. I swear there used to be better people in the alternative media space, but it seems like everybody sells out for the clicks and views eventually, you know. Just swallow your pride and take the hit, you know. Interview this wackadoo and you'll get 500,000 views and make tons of money. So people do that.
And people still defending them, you know. Like I was reading David Wilcox's comments on his latest video, and people are still so much in that mode of hypnosis or whatever he's done to his followers, you know. Yeah. And where's my hover car, David? You know.
Yeah, well, now he has an out. He's basically saying that it'll take a year from the day they get fully funded. But God knows what is he gonna? His company is running around asking for $2 billion. Does that what David Wilcock means? He can't build the hover cars until somebody gives them $2 billion to fund their company? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so we're still waiting to ascend as well. So when you know, like
$333. It costs another. He sold 3 courses on Ascension. Not one person ascended. So that's, you know, some of these people, and I've talked to some of them. I've talked to multiple people who bought all 3 courses for $333. That means these people have spent $1,000 on Ascension courses for what? For nothing, you know?
Yeah, for not much at all, unfortunately. You know. Yeah. So pretty much he's lost all credibility there, and I hope their subscribers, you know, we keep an eye on their subscribers and you know, see the impact of your shows on their followers. I did drop your name in a comment on David's video morning.
He's a big fan of mine, and his wife is an even bigger fan of mine. Do you know that, I don't know if it's true, but I heard from multiple people that know them or knew them, or, you know, that she literally divorced him over his giving all their money to that scam aerospace company, because she had no idea that aerospace company was so scammy until she watched one of our episodes where we broke it all down. I could have been the cause of David Wilcock's divorce. That's unfortunate, but the truth is the truth, right?
Oh dear. Yeah. Whoopsie daisy. Well,
Whoopsie daisy. She's running her own scams now, though. She runs those like women's empowerment, and she's like a fake kung fu master now.
oh yeah. I do hear that she has quite a past as well, you know. The
Oh yeah,
scarlet
I've heard about that.
past.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'd say she's used that kung fu magic for quite a bit in her life, you know. I just gotta watch what I say, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wore the wrong shirt yesterday. I should have wore this one yesterday. Avian lives matter. Yes.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Steve. I'll
Sure, sure. We've
get
got
in.
Fern Ambulax waiting in the wings, so I thank you for popping in, and it's nice to connect a name to the avatar and the person in the live chat. I always like it
Yeah.
when we get to see the, because it's strange. You think of people a certain way, but you see them in the live chat all the time. But it's interesting to
Yeah.
see them in person. So
Yeah.
glad that you reached out.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everyone.
All right, you have a good night, Eilish.
Good
Bye
night.
bye. All right. And we want to thank Tiff-tastic for a kind and generous $4.99 super chat. Says, I am funding the criticism of David Wilcock. Say some shit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. We appreciate all you people, especially because apparently we can't make any ad revenue telling the truth. So you guys, with your channel memberships, with your super chats, with your PayPal pledges, with your super stickers, Twitch subscription, all Patreon, all that support really does matter. Thank you, Tiff-tastic, for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
I wanted to mention that, by the way, we're not losing that much. The ad revenue on YouTube is the smallest part of our income stream. I think we might have missed $6 or $10, $20. Who knows? It's not a lot of money, though. It's really not a lot of money. But over time, of course, that adds up. And I always look at things because we're playing the long game here. We're not, we're here for the long haul. So what is that going to add up to in lost revenue over 5 years? Then it becomes significant. And I guess it just bothers me that David Wilcock and Corey Good are allowed to be fully monetized, literally lying through their teeth to people on public live streams. And YouTube is perfectly okay with that. But if you make a video critical of them doing that and critical of the literal scams, alleged scams, you get demonetized. Now, again, in fairness to YouTube, I try to stop cursing. I did, for sure, stop dropping F-bombs all the time. But I guess I'm still, I guess my point is they could say that I cursed too much during each of those streams or something like that. So going forward, I'm going to make another significant effort to just completely eliminate cursing from the show here, because I don't want to give them an out. And if I curse, that's giving them an out. They could just say, well, it's because of the cursing. The next time that this happens, I will pursue this with YouTube. And I'm going to want some answers from somebody explaining to me why David Wilcock can be on a public live stream telling people to take baths of piss to get superpowers, and he's fully monetized. But if I make a video talking about how ridiculous that is, and by the way, that could be dangerous to your health. He's on a public live stream telling people to do things that could be dangerous to your health, and he's fully monetized. But when I make a video critical of that, I get demonetized. I don't think that is fair in the least. All I want, by the way, I'm not looking for preferential treatment because we're telling people the truth and those clowns are lying to people on YouTube. I'm not looking for preferential treatment because we're telling the truth and they're lying. I'm just looking for an even playing field, right? I should be able to be the yang to their yin. If they want to go on the internet and lie to people, I should be allowed to go on the internet and tell people the truth about the lies that they are telling and suffer no consequences financially. Essentially, it appears to me that YouTube is actively discouraging people from telling the truth about the scam people who are selling lies on YouTube. But thank you, Tiftastic. And we have Fern Ambulax waiting in the wings, and there is nobody else. There is no other waiting callers. So if you use that invitation link to join the show, you will be the very next caller after this one. Fern Ambulax, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, good. Good to talk to you.
How about my video? Can you see me?
No, can't see you at all.
Boy, that is so funny.
Do you have a one of those things over the camera? It looks like you do. Well,
No, I don't. And I have my headphones on and everything, but
no, it's okay. You could pick an avatar, because right now we're looking at a black screen.
Yeah, it just normally I have no trouble calling in with my camera, but
okay. Well, it looks like you have a lens cover on to me, but I guess not. Maybe, I don't know.
No, it's a different hookup than I saw before. But
no worries.
I'll just talk about what we're doing here. I hear you're going to do some documentary, and I only wish you would get on one of these network shows like the government people do. And,
that would be something else. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, Corbell and the gang. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not CIA enough to get on those shows. That's the problem.
I would just see they would have a left and a right, debate on these shows. But when it comes to UFOs, years ago, they just make fun of you. And now the host just sits there and takes in whatever they say.
Yeah, you're right. And there does seem to be, used to be, like, I was never a huge fan of Larry King, but when Larry King would have a UFO person on, he would have Michael Shermer or Philip Klass or some very skeptical person on with them. And I think that's the much fairer way to do it. If you're just gonna have wackadoos on saying anything completely unchecked, I don't think that's good for your viewers,
Yeah, that's obviously the case. But, they flipped the switch from being like totally disregarding anything and doing it with a wink and a nod to being like, oh, yeah, go say what you got to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember in the old days, I was thinking about Art Bell, how he would handle people. He almost handled them like Daniel Tosh would.
Yeah, I like Art Bell. In fact, somebody on Twitter just sent me, we're going to do a show on it. Somebody sent me a video on Art Bell and where his grave is, and his interestingly, his old home is still there with all the radio towers and everything, but nobody knows who owns it now or what's going on with it. But that's interesting that his old home and broadcasting station with all those radio towers is still out there in the middle of the desert.
Well, he had a lot of money.
It looks like it's just waiting for him to come back. It's bizarre.
Well, I never saw those, but, I wish he would come back in some respects. I remember old Mel's Well. Do you remember that
yes.
guy?
Mm-hmm.
And, he would let him go on. Then, Mel ended up in China with no teeth in his mouth and, just going off on certain things. But the only one, Art Bell, ever threw off his show, do you know who that was?
No.
Kreskin.
Kreskin, really?
Yes. It was one day Kreskin had a UFO sighting event at some airport in Las Vegas. And before that, Kreskin was on the show promoting it. And then Art said, well, we have some people out there. And apparently Kreskin pointed out there was a light somewhere. And Art just realized, this guy hooked my show into promoting a hoax. He would never allow Kreskin on the show again.
Kreskin is an interesting character. Do you know I met him 3 times?
No.
Yeah, I worked in Las Vegas doing magic shows, and Kreskin did magic shows in Vegas all the time. And at some of these get-togethers magicians have, he was there. He was a extremely interesting character. I think he was one of my favorite magicians that I've ever met, because he was just like a really interesting character, and he was always showing off to other magicians too, and he told me things like where I grew up, what street I grew up on. I just met him, and 3 minutes later he told me what street I grew up on and things about my parents and my church and he didn't know he was going to be meeting me that day. So I was always blown away. Like, I don't know how he does some of the things that he did. He's extremely talented. I think he's fully retired now, though. I don't think he does shows anymore. He's got to be, if he's still alive, he's got to be like 80 or 90, right?
That takes me back. Like, I had a different impression of him. I'm an amateur magician.
Oh, no, he's still alive. Yeah.
I'm an amateur magician. I would do card tricks for my college professors, and they'd beg me to show them how it's done. And then I would show them the video of Kreskin doing the same card trick, claiming it's like super ESP. And I said, no, here's how you do it. And he used to do, I could say this because people won't know what I'm talking about, but you know what a Svengali deck is, right? Yeah, he used to do this whole 15-minute routine with a Svengali deck about how talented he was with cards, but he was using a trick deck, like it was just a whole thing. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I
thought
it was funny too.
We've got Thin Lizzie Borden waiting in the wings. We're gonna move on to the next caller. We want to thank you for calling in there, Fern Ambiolax.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, and nice to talk to you. All right, so we've got one caller waiting in the wings. If you call in next, you will be next after Thin Lizzie here. Welcome, Thin Lizzie.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
It's nice to see you.
Mm-hmm.
What's on your mind, Thin Lizzie Borden?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I just thought I'd call in and say I definitely appreciate your show. And it's nice to see another loud Polak out there.
Yeah, I get a lot of crap for that, right?
Oh,
somebody, one of my detractors is like, it totally makes sense that he's Polish. Yeah. By the way, I'm half Polish and I'm half Irish. So my mother used to say I was half drunk and half stupid.
Yeah, my mom's Aztec and my dad's Norwegian and Polish. So I have a lot of
combination.
Yeah, it can be for a lot of passion, I guess, rage. But I've seen the memes of I'm not yelling, I'm Polish. And I sent that to my mom, and then she was starting to get loud. And I was like, oh my God.
No, that's exactly. Sometimes there's truth in stereotypes because my grandparents used to yell at each other and yell at us all the time. And that's just the way they talk.
That's my Polish grandma.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I do card reading. I do, let's see. I have a channel with Steve Stockton. It's called Saucer Cult. And I'm rewriting. Yeah, I'm rewriting the 50s and 60s UFO stories. And then right now we have a bunch of retro cheesy movies on there. And then I think we're going to do...
I love retro cheesy
Him
movies.
And I think the plan is we want to do like Mystery Science Theater 3000 type, where it's like him and I just like, just say whatever when we watch it.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I've seen you around for quite some time, but I didn't know that you had your own show.
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 2 years, but I do some writing for Steve Stockton. He does like a bunch of for missing people and cryptids and all that stuff. But UFOs are definitely a passion of mine. So
yeah, it's one hell of a rabbit hole. It feels like once you get sucked in, you're just here for life. Like, I know almost nobody that walked away and stayed away. I know people who get pissed off or frustrated and they say they're walking away, but they're back in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no escape from this.
No,
right?
And that's the thing where it's like my grandpa saw a UFO. So it's like I have it in my bloodline. So it's like I heard that when I was a little kid. So it's like I've always just grown up around it, or it's just it's that is normal to me, I guess. But I'm a weird person, so it works.
Well, us weirdos, it's okay. I always liked weird people.
Like
Right? Weird people are interesting. Like
we are the
normal people are
weirdos,
so
mister.
boring. Yeah.
Yeah, we are the
people are
weirdos,
boring
mister.
to me.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So you're doing some writing about the original, the 50s and 60s UFO stories, like the contactees movement and all of that?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm the Scandinavian, the database. I am going through and just scouring to look at all the different sightings, and then kind of rewording it, rewriting it, because I definitely love retro stories. And it's kind of like before Betty and Barney Hill. We definitely wanted to do, like more of the retro, everyday sightings. So it's like I'm looking at newspapers, and taking those sightings, because it's really interesting.
Those things are interesting, but I love some of the stories like Howard Menger and Adamski, even though I think they were just making up stories to make money or something, because they're like a lot of experiencer stories today. They're light on evidence but big on story. But but I will say Howard Menger was pretty interesting in that I talked to his daughter once, who swore to me that his mother and his father, they swore like he could never play a musical instrument, and when he met these entities, he said, I've always wanted to know how to play it. And they just gifted him, according to him, the ability to play piano like a maniac. Like he went from
savant.
He couldn't play piano at all. And by the way, I've got some recordings of him playing piano that nobody's ever heard. Maybe I should publish them, but it makes me wonder, like, maybe I'm too cynical, maybe I'm too critical, because who am I? If his family and his friends believed it, he really got the ability to play piano like a maniac from Aliens. Who am I to say no, he didn't?
Right. Yeah, there's so many different things that people claim that isn't out of the realm of what people, would claim, or just like illnesses being taken away. Now I know that there's a lot of fake, like Bledsoe and all that, that BS. But like the actual like things that change, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Do you think there's people that are saying that disclosure is coming this year?
So I don't, like, for me, like, I'm definitely in the experiencer camp, and so I'm not a sheep, and so I don't need the government to tell me something that I know, that I have experiences, I've talked to people, it's like, I don't need that. I'm not holding my breath. Now, some people need that, and they'll clutch their pearls, but it's like,
doesn't it seem bizarre to you that these people who, the same people who've been saying the government's covering it up for 75 years are waiting for the government to tell us the truth? It doesn't make any sense. And this whole CIA, TTSA disclosure narrative, that doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, the CIA's job is to lie to people, manipulate people, and run psyops. Suddenly we're going to get UFO proof from the CIA people? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I did not get a good vibe off of To the Stars. And then I said, oh gosh, that it was all just a ploy for him and his comeback tour, for him to get fans for this comeback tour. But
yeah. Well, we have Artisan Tony waiting in the wings.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for calling in, and you like Eilish de Avalon. It's nice to put a name to the avatar and to the to the online personality in the live chat. I always like meeting some of the people that have been in the live chat for quite a while. You've been around for quite a while, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
A good live chatter and supporter of the show.
I will see you guys in the chat.
Oh, where do people find you on YouTube? Give yourself a plug or something.
So my channel is Witch Please 420. That's yeah. I'm a weed witch also. But so that's the channel that I do card readings on, and Saucer Cult. Saucer Cult is
Okay.
the
Yeah, so
new
people could just put that.
UFO.
You could either put Witch Please
Oh
420
yeah, Charles.
or Saucer Cult.
I've shared it on the Discord, and Charles knows I recognize him from the chat, so definitely, yep. And I
there
will
you
see
go.
you guys in a bit. Bye.
Okay, thanks, Thin Lizzie Borden. Nice to see you. And next up, we've got Artisan Tony waiting in the wings, another longtime live chatter and show supporter. Welcome, Artisan Tony.
How's it going, Steven?
Good, and good to put a face to your name as well.
Oh, I thought we talked before.
I think we did. You're right. I apologize.
I've actually invited you to come on my Pi-Fi show.
Yeah, I will do that. Get with me off air, and we'll figure a time out to do that with you.
Well, and I just wanted to bring up one thing about that. I know that sometimes, there's not a criticism, but there's a thing where, you know, people have guests, like I have guests on my show like Anjali and people like that, and I would like to be able to do it without it being a reflection on me, right? I would like to be able to have.
Well, I have the same problem. You know what, Artisan Tony? I always tell people that I try to make sure people understand that I'm just having a conversation here, and just because I'm bringing somebody on my show, that doesn't mean I agree with everything they say or ever said. Like, I've had people bring up stuff somebody said, a guest said 25 years before they were a guest on my show, and get angry with me. Why would you have them on their show? Look what they said back then. And, you know, look, I didn't even know about that. So I agree with you.
I think there are some, you know, I would draw the line at probably Corey Good or someone like that. But it would be interesting as long as people knew I didn't agree with. In other words,
listen, Tony, I would, if he would agree to it, I would 100% even interview Corey Good or David Wilcock or whatever. They would never agree to that because I would grill them like crazy, and they know that probably, but I would do it.
Well, and I actually respect your approach, but I would probably have a different, like, I don't try to, I'd really just try to dig deep and try to get to people's inner thoughts a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm not there to, and I love your show. I watch it, you know, so I'm not criticizing at all. I'm just saying, I think we have different styles. And I think,
well, sure, everybody does.
Yeah,
everybody's got a different approach, different style, you know.
I have this extreme view of the First Amendment, and I think people have the right to be even crazy if they want to.
Well, I probably agree with you, but where I draw the line is when they're crazy can do harm to others, I guess.
That's true. And there's a line, I've tried to figure this out before, where that line is, where my responsibility is. I think, again, the other thing I have is this philosophy that everyone is absolutely responsible for their own selves. In other words, I can't be a protector for people. So if I have a guest on my show and they say something stupid or wrong, or, you know, I can't predict what they're going to say and protect people, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, who's the one that people bring up to me all the time? Cal Korff. Cal Korff came here a few different times. He's been a guest, I don't know, maybe 3 times or whatever. But, you know, and he said some pretty wacky things years ago. And I always say, like, go to him, you know, and he has said that people can come on his show and he'll talk to anybody, answer any questions. So it's like, why are you getting pissed off at me? Like, I had him for a specific purpose, like to talk about the Billy Meyer cult. He did a great job with that. I had him for the Roswell thing. He has a different perspective than most people on Roswell. I thought he did a good job as a guest. But I can't be responsible for some wackadoo, maybe false claims that he made 20 years ago, you know? And you can't take it out on me because I wasn't even aware that he said some of that stuff. I don't stand by whatever he said if it was false claims. And, you know, it is what it is, though. Everybody in conspiracy land's got something that makes them a little crazy. So
even I was just going to say, who are the actors in this play who are actually totally sane? I can't.
Yeah, we're all a little nuts.
I can't put my finger on it, but it's like Anjali is coming back. Her her next interview is going to be Monday night, but it's not going to be live. She's more comfortable with it, not being.
Why don't you
but
have me on with her? She would love that.
Well, I'm a
just
peace.
Bring me on and I'll gotcha her. I'll just come in and start yelling at her.
I'm a peace-loving guy. No, but it's funny because the last time Anjali was on, the reason I brought her up is because I don't think we even talked about the entities or whatever. We just talked about her as a person, which is what I'm trying to get to. It's like when I interviewed Louis Elizondo, and I wanted to know what the flag, like I have one of the, I have my brother's flag, right? It's on my shelf. So Lou had one of those. He had a Mini 14 hanging on the wall. I wanted to know about that kind of stuff. I wanted to know what his early life was in the military. That's the kind of stuff that interests me, and I don't know. I never thought we were going to have any disclosure. So I never really got excited about the congressional office or anything like that. So I actually made plenty of enemies about that when, especially with Louis Jimenez and their bunch, whenever they were so excited about, what they felt like was going to be disclosure through Congress, but I don't have any faith in that. So
well, I always say this, Tony. All you got to do is go to the DMV or the post office. If you think that the government is going to give you UFO the truth about anything, they're just a disorganized, bureaucratic mess of idiots. They're not going to do anything for us.
Yeah. I think their power comes from holding information in secrets. I mean, that's where they.
Sure.
I mean, look at the CIA. I mean, if they disclosed all of their secrets tomorrow, what would they be? They would just be an empty shell. So.
Yeah. Well, it looks like somebody's dumping a lot of intelligence files lately on video game servers of all things. So, yeah, and that's not good. Like, they don't know where the leaks are coming from, who's doing it, who leaked those documents recently.
Are you talking about the Ukraine documents from the Pentagon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought I had missed something. I was like, what?
No, that's what I was mentioning. Like, and that's probably the biggest intelligence leak of classified documents since Snowden. So it's a significant bunch of stuff. It's not a small amount, and if you look, you could find them. I'm not going to say anything more than that.
By the way, I think you should do some content on your cabin building.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a whole new channel about that. I thought it'd be best to just separate it because some of the people coming here would be like, "What the hell is this?"
I don't think so. I remember when I first joined YouTube in 2006. I tried to have an Artisan Construction channel and an Artisan Tony channel, and it really didn't work for me. It didn't work very well. Most of the viewers didn't want to go to two different. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe that's just my experience, but I don't think it would hurt. I really don't. I think you ought to try it out because I think.
Well, what I think I'll do is I'll put some of the videos, some of the more generalized ones, I'll throw up here too, just so people know what I'm up to when I'm off from the show. I'll be out in the woods there, trying to not get eaten by bears. That's my goal for the spring. I went to this land. This new land is 4 miles from the other cabin, but it's up the mountain into the woods. It's really remote. I can't even drive in right now. The road is kind of blocked. It's a long story, but I went the last time I was there. I'm sure I saw a bear, and it's springtime now. So I'm a little leery about going there and spending all day there because there's no structure. There's no, if an angry bear starts charging you, there's nowhere to go. I could guess up a tree, but I'm going there this weekend, and I'm setting up a tent and some other stuff and a fire ring and probably I'm putting up an alarm because bears don't like loud noises, and I got a super loud alarm. So I'm going to put that up with a 12-volt battery, and if a bear should come around, that should be enough to get them to turn away. I haven't had any problems. Usually when they see people, they go the other way. But in the springtime, they're pissed off and they're hungry. So that makes me a little nervous,
I've seen, I've been, I live in the woods of Tennessee, and we have some black bears, and I've run up on them. They typically will run the other way, but the ones you have to worry about are the ones like on the Appalachian Trail who become used to humans and used to eating out of garbage, out of, what I mean?
People's trash, yeah.
They have no fear about walking up to your tent and trying to raid it, and then, if you challenge them, then you're in trouble, but, I don't think you should have any trouble with bears.
Yeah, I did the Appalachian Trail, a large portion of it, and I remember I used to burn whatever food. If I prepared food and I didn't finish it, I would just burn the rest of it because the bears would come right away if you just left anything laying around. Yeah,
we did all the trails. We did all the trails around. We did some on the Appalachian Trail. When I was in my 20s, the Appalachian Trail was considered like a highway. Too many people, so we did.
Somebody's asking me to show the shirt. Avian lives matter. Yes. Yeah, that's Appalachian Trail was fun. I did it with a friend, but he checked out after about a week, or not even a week, maybe 5 days.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. Well, thanks, Stephen. You got to come on Pi-Fi sometime, and
we'll
have fun there. We talk about all kinds of different things.
Yeah, sounds good to me. What do you got coming up? You said you had Angelique coming up, right?
Yeah, Gary Nolan's supposed to come in May. So
God, you got to bring me on with him. Come on, Tony. I'll be nice.
If you promise to be nice, I'll say.
No, I would love it. He's a big fan of mine. He's a huge fan of mine.
So, oh, really? I didn't know that.
I hope you know I'm being sarcastic.
I was going to say you're being facetious. All right. Well, thanks. I'm going to run. I got to go to a meeting with one of my little customers. So thank you for having me on. It was fun.
Yeah,
my hope pleasure, to see you sometime.
Yeah. Good to put a name. Good to see you again, I should say.
Yeah.
And good luck with your show. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, friends. We've got no other callers waiting. So now is a good time to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show. And given the current censorship and videos getting demonetized for things like telling people the truth, it's more important than ever to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show. And it is from the kindness and generosity and support of viewers like you that we were able to continue this journey, regardless of the obstacles that the universe puts in place. I learned a long time ago that if you just decide you're going to do something, the universe gets out of your way eventually. But we seem to still be in that phase where the universe is putting obstacles and boundaries in our way. I talked to one YouTuber who did a show about the paranormal, not specifically UFOs, but including UFOs. And they got so many of their videos demonetized that they just gave up. They said, I'm not going to work for free. I work way too hard on this. I'm not going to continue to put all this time and energy into something that they say is not monetizable. And to be honest, I was surprised that he was getting so many of his videos demonetized because that person was much more professional than I am. He didn't curse and was much more like a broadcast show, maybe we do too much fooling around or something. All right, so we've got Lord Ludacris waiting in the wings. We'll bring him in here. Welcome, Lord Ludacris.
Sorry, couldn't see where the camera was at, man. How are you doing?
Good to see you. And Artisan Tony, you could just shut down your browser tab or I'll kick you. There we go. See ya. Thank you, Tony. Welcome, Lord Ludacris.
Yeah, man. How are things going? Saw that you made some progress on the cabin.
Well, not really, but I have for weeks now. But there's been a lot of snow, and for weeks now, I have to go there, Lord Ludacris, and I have to take a 300-foot measuring tape with me and a metal detector, and I have to mark the property lines. And then I have to set up a fire pit and a tent to put the tools in for now. I'm doing all of this weekend. So I'm excited because once that's set up, I'm free to just start building something. and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I had no idea when I started the first cabin, and that turned out okay. So,
Hey, well, that's cool. So I guess you're going to be out there looking for, do they have stakes and whatnot out there?
they should
Measured?
have, yeah, they when they subdivided, this property was all owned by like one person 80 years ago who clear cut it. That's what I was told by the realtor. I don't know if any of this is accurate, but it seems to be accurate based on the trees that are there, because there's not a lot of huge old trees. There's a lot of smaller, it's what you would call a new growth forest. So, but when they subdivided it, I'm told that they put metal stakes on all the property lines. So I got a metal detector, and I'm going to go try finding those stakes. Otherwise, I'm going to have to use a GPS app and just guesstimate it the best that I can for now. But I don't really want to start building something until I'm 100% sure of the property lines,
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't
My
blame
luck,
you.
I'd build a huge cabin half on the next door neighbor's house or something, next door. But there's no neighbors for miles, but still, you don't want to go start building on somebody else's land. It looks like this land was one of those deals where, back in the day, companies would buy up this land, and they would put, they would sell like 1/3 acre plots to people in New York City out of newspaper ads, like buy a piece of the Pocono Paradise or something. And everybody bought these 1/3 acre plots. I got a bunch of them, but nobody has built anything there, like it's just woods for as far as you could see. And it's my idea of paradise. I'm trying to find some money, Lord Ludacris. I'm going to try to buy up more of these properties that are around mine.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Sorry, there's a plane flying over. I don't know how your entry points are. If you have, if you're able to drive on it and all that stuff, that's irrelevant. But yeah, that's a good thing to do. To have a goal, if you bought 5 acres and there's another set of 5 acres directly where you would like to continue,
Lord Ludacris, there is hundreds of acres. The problem is that most people don't even own an acre. It's all subdivided into 1/3 acre plots. So in order to buy, let's say 10 acres, I would have to get 30 of these people that own 1/3 acre plots. And by the way, there's a good possibility that this will happen, though, Lord Ludacris, because according to the township, you can't build anything on a 1/3 acre. So all these people, basically, it's worthless land to them. They, you can use it for a campsite if you want. That's about all you could do. Maybe I think that you could be allowed to like pull a camping trailer on there, but you can't build anything on a 1/3 acre in that township. So there's hundreds of people that own 1/3 acre around my property that never have used it and probably never will. So I'm going to start writing letters and see what happens, right? Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, I guess they're not considered lords, right? Because what wasn't Scotland? Wasn't there a company you could buy a piece of?
No, but
it turned out to be a scam.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that whole area is called Sherwood Forest, and the old logging trails that are all around there that they call roads, but they're really, you've seen in the one video, it's like a hiking trail. It's not a road. But they're all named after, there's like Robin Hood Way. I'm on Nottingham Way. There's like Lady Guinevere or whatever road. And like, it's all named after Robin Hood stuff, which I think is funny because, as a kid, I had a bow and arrow and I'd go out in the woods and play Robin Hood. And now I'm going to get to do it all again as an adult.
I had a bow and I bought a wood bow and arrow at a flea market as a child, and it was slightly cracked, but it was an old style, and I taped it, and I had one hell of a fun summer with it before it finally gave out.
Yeah, my dad was big on
that.
buying. Everything we got when we were kids was from the flea market. So my dad would buy the bows on the flea market, and then back then, before the internet, he would have to order from some outdoors company the strings, and then we would get the strings and put them on. And yeah, but still to this day, I love archery. I have 3 or 4 bows at the cabin now. And I don't hunt, but I do have a full set of hunting arrows for emergencies, you know. If there was
as tall as you are, as tall as I am, golf isn't really built for us, but archery is fun. You know?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
it really
Yeah.
is, because I'm a tall fella myself. So, but well, I wanted to find out what your thoughts are on this UAP hearing, and we'll
Well,
do
I hate to be
that question first.
I hate to be so cynical, but I am cynical. And I think it's going to be another nothing burger that the disclosure dorks will count as a big win somehow. But where we won't get any real new or important information.
Yeah, I agree. I have an issue with the way it's being framed as a UAP hearing, when they're going to be interviewing Kirkpatrick, and it's going to be mainly stuff about like finances. I would imagine next year's goals. What are you working on? All that stuff. It's going to be junk that's going to be public, and then behind the scenes, they'll get to hear about the balloons and all that stuff that, you know. What really
Yeah,
happened.
so you're right. It's being framed by the disclosure dorks as, oh, this is a new UAP hearing. No, it's not. There might be a few things about UAP included in it, but you're right. It's mostly going to be probably about funding of this Arrow and these other organizations, and very little about actual UAP cases or information, I think. But
yeah, and it's a select committee, emerging threats and something technologies. I can't remember right off the top. I know that the emerging threats was the main part of it, was emerging threats. And with that giant Pentagon leak, I mean, you got to wonder. I didn't see anything about UFOs or UAPs and all that spying that was going on all those countries. And
no, I didn't see any of that either.
Yeah, it's kind of disappeared. That's one thing I expected to see talked about more, was this giant leak that people are saying is worse than Snowden's, and it's been crickets. You know,
well, I don't know. Lord Ludacris, have you seen some of those documents?
I've seen some of them, yeah.
I think I don't know. It depends on your perspective. If you are a war hawk in the United States, somebody that likes war and somebody that likes wars to be going on so you can profit, it is terrible for you.
Yeah.
Because it does not paint a very pretty picture of everything going on in Ukraine right now. And it's
other
bad.
Countries.
It's also
other
bad
countries
for
too.
It's also bad for our allies, because there's some stuff in there that if I was a United States ally and I read some of the stuff in these documents that they're saying about my country, I would instantly cut ties with the United States. So it's embarrassing for the United States, and it's revealing, you know. But it's
revealing to the people that want to read it. Like Fox.
I don't want anybody put in danger. Like, I don't want like any agents that are in foreign countries covertly put in danger or anything.
Yeah, of course.
But I love these leaks. I love them. I think
too.
The more we know about what these rich ruling class clowns are doing, the better. So, you know, I'm a big supporter of Snowden. I'm a big supporter of Julian Assange. They both, to me, should be pardoned immediately. You know, how dare we call them criminals? Look at what our government was doing. That was the crime. That was the criminals. The government was the criminals, you know?
It's it's wild. The spying we were doing on other countries. You got John Kirby telling at a press briefing that it's not made for publication. The public doesn't need to see it. I mean, that's our government officials are saying that. Fox News isn't even going to report on it. They said that their Pentagon person, Janice Dean, whatever her name was, isn't even going to report on it. They don't want it could cause too much harm to the United States, is what they're saying. So they're being selective with what runs in the papers and stuff.
Well, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this Trump stuff. I'm not a fan of Trump, but what they're saying is that he committed a crime by trying to influence the election in 2016. And then I'm thinking, you are the same people that censored everybody talking about Biden's laptop. That for sure influenced the election in 2020. Did anybody get charged with a crime for that? Like, it's
or
hypocrisy.
2016.
Yeah.
2016, the Russian meddling, which turned out to be what,
Nothing
50,000
burger.
bots pushing, butt Jesus with machine guns. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I don't understand too. Like, I'm no legal scholar, but if this occurred with Trump 7 years ago, why is it not out of statute? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's 7 years ago he did that, or 8 years ago.
It is out of statute. They had to bring it up.
Yeah, they had to do some legal mumbo jumbo to still be able to charge him. Yeah.
It's a first. It's never been done. What's being done for a former sitting president, it looks like it should be thrown out in court or whatever. But yeah.
And meanwhile, did you know that Barack Obama literally killed American citizens with drone attacks, and he was never charged with anything?
Right. Well, look what happened.
That's, if you're going to charge a president with something, if you're going to charge a president or a former president with an actual criminal offense, misfiling paperwork is not worth it. But murdering an American citizens with drone strikes knowingly to get some terrorists, torture programs, that would be worth charging an American president to me. But not
was anyone
paperwork.
held accountable for the 13 lives lost after that suicide bomber in trying to leave Afghanistan or Iraq, whatever, there at the airport, as we were all leaving, and they had the suicide bomber, and now some of the guys are saying we could have shot him, but we were told to stand down. But they went and bombed a guy that was bringing fresh water to people, a humanitarian, killed children, wiped out damn near a whole family, and nobody got in trouble. It was just, we got bad intel.
Yeah, collateral damage. That's what they call
that.
It's
nothing.
They call it collateral damage. Those are human lives, But I would think,
regardless, if it,
I would think this thing's got to get, it's got to get squashed by a higher court. Like, this guy is not going to be able to piece this thing together, and I think that both sides are criminals, both Republicans and Democrats. But if you let one side weaponize the justice system against their political opponents, that's opening a whole can of worms that we don't want to open. Because when the power swings in the Republicans' favor, that means they can do it to the Democrats next. They'll start charging everybody.
Swayed, changed the filibuster to allow authorizing judges.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans ended up, we as people ended up with 3 Republican judges or whatever.
Yeah,
that wouldn't have happened if Harry Reid hadn't changed the filibuster for electing judges. So, anyways, what do you think about the? Have you had a chance? I guess you don't watch any of the Jeremy Corbell stuff, do you? I was curious if you watched this latest one with Colin.
No, but I did see some clips, and what we have to always view is that guy has been a profiteer about Skinwalker and everything else for years. So when he says, "Oh yes, we have off-world technology," I just it's another trust me, dude, from a person that has been profiting from paranormal stuff for decades. So I don't know. I just kind of discount that. Now if they had somebody credible that we haven't seen before saying that, the current disclosure dork sort of narrative right now seems to be that we're going to get the truth about alien crash retrievals real soon, and there's all these whistleblowers. Right, and it's the same old people pushing this narrative. We've got Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, and we've got what is his name, Ross Coulthart, and others pushing this narrative, and they're all pushing this narrative but nobody's releasing the names of the whistleblowers, the so-called whistleblowers. For all we know, they are talking about Bob Lazar. You know, like, what are their
I'm
names?
with Lou. I hope they call Bob Lazar up there.
Me
Let
too.
him testify. Good. Let
Me
him
too.
testify.
Because that would be something else, right?
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I think he would. I think he would melt under congressional scrutiny. Because they're going to want to know why his education is fake, why he lied about being a scientist at Los Alamos, why he was a convicted pimp, while he, you know, right after he said he worked on alien spacecraft, he's running a whorehouse. You know, he would fall apart. And there could be criminal prosecution for him if he just lied to Congress, I would think. Right?
I mean,
You're under
he
oath.
should have worked with the CIA. You know, they probably helped him out setting that honey trap up. You know, but it's I don't know. It's interesting to me. Not Bob Lazar at all, but the fascination with Skinwalker Ranch and stuff, like with that ranch out there.
I call it the Skinwalker scam now.
Well, yeah, it is. I believe it is a scam. Maybe they were testing some stuff out there. I don't know. You know.
Well, isn't it interesting that if you really look at the history of Skinwalker, I think it would be fair to say that $50 million has been generated and made from Skinwalker Ranch in its history. That's an awful, you know, it's 22 million just that Bigelow got to study the ranch. Then after that, Bigelow sold the ranch at a huge profit for how many $1 million to Brandon Fugel. Brandon Fugel's got TV deals. Jeremy Corbell got a documentary film deal worth millions, probably. We've got George Knapp got book deals, 2 of them probably worth $1 million or more. So there's literally $50 million has been made out of Skinwalker Ranch. And when I view it through this lens, like, okay, you guys all made $50 million. Where is your best evidence that there's anything paranormal or supernatural there? We get, you know, videos of what could be lightning bugs. So
spiders.
Spiders, silkworms,
bugs. And,
none of this makes any sense to me.
Well,
you guys made $50 million pumping that this was the biggest paranormal hotspot in the United States, and the best that you have is videos of silkworms and bugs. That to me says that this is all one big scam, you know?
Yeah. Well, they're selling, you know, $9.95 or whatever for that website, right? That you can go in, you can watch a webcam that's 24/7, and you get access to different docs or whatever. If I was him, I would just be like, fuck it, screw it.
You owe me 27 cents.
I do. I'll send it to you. I'll send you 50 cents. That worth it. But you know, set up some campsites out there. You could have like 8 campsites.
Well, the rumor is they're going to put a hotel
so far
there.
away from each other.
Yeah, the rumor is they're going to put a hotel there. That's the rumor. I've heard that rumor multiple times. They're going to put a hotel there, and you'll be able to go there and stay on the ranch, and stay on the hotel on the ranch. I got to tell you the truth. I would, though.
You would rather do a hotel than a
maybe
like
not
a camping
yeah
situation.
Look, I mean, speaking of Skinwalker, look, the Skinwalker superintendent tried to slag me on Twitter. He says, "You seem very engaged for someone who is so cynical of us and our methods. May I recommend changing the channel to something that better aligns with your sharp intellect? Keeping up with the Kardashians might be a good fit. Thanks for following along. We appreciate the ratings." And I just said back, the Kardashians are smarter than your 2 piss-poor scientists. You've all made a good living long enough playing Ghostbusters. The Skinwalker scams have gone on long enough. They don't like it when you get in the way of their money. You know?
Man, send Nias out there. I'll go out there with a bag of mushrooms, no rifle.
We'll see some shit, Lord Ludacris.
Man,
yeah.
And a camera. I'll go out there. I'm not scared to do that. They won't do it, though. I told Brandon that. I've seen him that. I'll pay for my own way out there. We'll just sit in the camp.
Well, this Thomas Winter, this guy, Winterton. He's on the television show, I think. He's the guy with the hat, the cowboy. He doesn't like me pointing out that they use 100% fake science to fake paranormal events. And by the way, Lord Ludacris, that's a provable fact. A provable fact is that they have used 100% fake science to fake paranormal events for the television show, and we can prove it.
I've seen others make that claim too. I've seen others make that claim. What's the top one that comes to your mind that they?
Well, one of the top ones is that laser one that we showed on the last show, the hunt for Skinwalker Cache. Travis Taylor is an optical physicist, and he pretended that he didn't know what was causing that secondary reflective beam around the first beam. He is literally an optical physicist. He should have learned that in his first year physics college classes, what would cause that. But he sat there like an idiot pretending that it had to be something supernatural. And, we showed what it was. It was nothing. It was literally a nothing burger, but he sat there pretending it was supernatural, or it could be supernatural, or whatever,
So I had another goof on laser pointer situation.
Yeah.
Good breakdown, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, hey, it wasn't a laser
jab
pointer,
at it.
Lord Ludacris. It was a vape pen.
Oh, vape pen. Okay.
Yeah.
However you did it, I mean, it matched it.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I
did
knew
it
what that
perfect.
was right away, and for him to pretend that it was white. Laser pointers aren't white. Like, come on, dude. He knew what that was.
Well, not to stick on the rich thing about him burning Ollie, which Ollie's a cool. I've always liked Ollie.
I like Ollie. I don't care.
Fair,
he's pretty good guy, and I like that he's very honest and that he is a drama farmer. At least he's honest about it, right?
He is. Yeah, I like Lee too. Lee's good too. I like to listen to him.
Yeah, those guys are okay. Yeah, but he burns everybody eventually.
Yeah.
It's got to be a slow week when he has nothing to talk about. So you're the next contestant on Goof on Needs super chats.
Yeah, that's the super chat thing is wild, man. He gets some pretty big super chats from time to time.
Well, good for him, but I don't think that he offers any value. And
Zero.
if you look at his history, all these, I would think that people would tire of all of the clickbait titles. Like he clickbaits something and then he doesn't even talk about it or have anything prepared. It's just a way to get people to click on his video. It's ridiculous. Like, at least do some research or something on that thing that you're clickbaiting, or he talks about it for 2 minutes and then he just shows shit on UFO Twitter. Great. Good job. But it is what it is. The fact that he still has an audience after he's been caught lying to his audience for, all this time shows you how stupid some of these people are. Unfortunately.
It's the same 100 idiots that go over to and watch the third phase of Moon plus 60. I mean, that's all it. Not pulling in. What's sad to me are the people that are pulling in stuff are like David Wilcock pulling in over 5,000 doing his
5,000 live viewers. Yeah.
Something like crazy,
Getting $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 in super chats in 1 3-hour stream.
If he was smart, he would just keep rolling that and sticking with it.
If I was him, I'd be doing a live stream every day. I would be. Yeah. If I was him, I would do a live stream from my bathtub in the piss.
reading from the book of Michael, how it will help your life. He'd be guaranteed to get him. He did mention he needed $8,600 for the heating and cooling system
and
the warehouse.
And he wants his stupid followers to pay for that for him.
That amazed me. So they're nowhere near.
No, what's amazing is that they will. They'll be like, David Wilcock needs money for his hovercar project, so we got to send him money.
But basically, they have an empty warehouse with no heating and air, so they've not done anything in it.
No, not in a year and a half.
No, they've not. I mean, hell, it's been cold as shit. Blizzards up there the last months and stuff. They've not done nothing up there. If I was one to guess.
Skinwalker is an ATM. And we've got Fern Ambulax in the background. I don't know what's going on, but he's like walking around. We'll try to bring him in here. Welcome, Fern Ambulax.
This time it worked.
Okay, good. Do
you know what the solution was? You're an IT professional, and so am I.
Well, call me a professional is a stretch, but yeah.
My last job title was genius. So you know who I worked for? Apple. Yeah, I just had a reboot, and now the video works, and I know the audio was horrible before.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but when you were talking about that surveying and stuff like that, I just want to say I was on an airline flight one time, and I was next to a guy, and we started talking. He said he was a surveyor, and I said, that's a nice job. He said, I'm going out here to testify in a murder trial.
Wow.
And he said some old woman hired him to like survey her property. And as he's surveying the property, some other old woman comes over with a shotgun. And she just kills the woman right next to him and walks away. So like, yeah.
Jesus.
What a crazy world.
Well, I do know from past experience, these are mountain people, many of these people that live in that area. And there's two things that if you do, you will get shot for. One of them is poaching animals from somebody else's land. They'll shoot you. If you go on somebody else's land and try to take a deer from their land, they'll shoot you. Or if you go and poach firewood.
Or mushrooms or
ginseng. Yeah, or any,
ginseng,
but if you're just, and I don't blame them because I know somebody that shot at but not shot somebody because he had all of his firewood in this open firewood shed and it was all split, processed, stacked.
Yeah, the guy worked on it.
Yeah, and somebody came in with a big dump truck and a couple of guys were loading a dump truck. So he went out there and started shooting at them and but considering how much work it is to generate that much firewood, I'd shoot at somebody too if they try to take it from me, Yeah, but I'm lucky that at that new land there's nobody for miles, so which means a lot of extra resources laying around, fallen trees or whatever, stone,
Yeah, I know vaguely where you live at. I'm up in Wilkes-Barre, and we're not.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm right in Warminster.
Yeah, well, I used to live in Philly and then Westchester, and we're sort of running around the same place. Before I talked, we both played at Revival. I was the sound man.
I don't remember if Revival had good sound or not. So
my soundmanship sucked because the lead guitarist, he had his own stack of amps, and I had no control over that. He said, I love to feel the sound pass through me. So I was obligated with at least working his mic and the drummer and the bass player. We were a trio. Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, Revival and Sanctuary and what was that? All those Dancing Ferrets, that clown, that guy had all those concerts and the Goth Club on Delaware Avenue. I used to live right near that one.
You're too young to hear about the Kennel Club?
No, I don't remember that one. No.
The Kennel Club was for all the rich kids from Penn to go downtown and pretend they were like hip.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that was the deal. They would send out invitations in the mail. Okay. Yeah. But anyhow, we were talking before about Kreskin and stuff. And like Kreskin really knew where you lived?
He knew what street I lived on. He gave me the street that I grew up on. And he had just met me. And the only thing that I could think, I try to piece it together later, I think he might have done what you would call pre-show work, which is, in other words, you
filled out a card?
No, I didn't fill out any card. It was at a get-together of magicians after somebody's show. But what I think is that somebody must have told him, oh, this guy's name is Steve Cambion, and he must have researched or something and figured out where I grew up, and he knew all this stuff about me, and he acted like he had just met me, and so I was pretty blown away. Though, no matter how he did it, it was pretty interesting.
I remember one night on the Art Bell show where Art Bell actually said, Linda Moulton Howe jumped the shark. And I remember that night. He said, like, she's talking about some kind of super alien stuff going on. This is 30 years ago. So I say, okay, well, you saw it coming. You definitely saw it coming. Oh, those were the days. But anyhow, I sent you a video about how Travis was on The Curse of Oak Island. And his big theory was that Oak Island is laid out like the constellation Draco.
I saw that.
Oh,
Total
yeah.
speculation.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I imagine it's the same producers are doing the shows, you know.
Same casting. Yeah. Oh, we'll get you a guest from our other show on history, you know.
And there's this super, super scientist in propulsion and space flights and stuff like that. He's worried about a constellation Draco.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid.
Yeah, but it was just one episode of that ultimately stupid show with them digging all these holes all over the place. You think it would hit something once in a while. They're putting up barriers for the sea and finding beams and stuff like, yeah, there's something there. But
I think there might be something there, but I don't think they're ever going to find it. I mean, it's been 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always like that show. It's always like, this is the season. They're going to finally find it this year. You know, and all they have really found is like a couple of really old coins and things, and you know, and some wood down in the, you know, could have been anything. Could have been an old log cabin that sunk into the ground 100 years ago. You know,
it captures the imagination, and
everybody wants to though. Like I just got a metal detector just to find property stakes, but I remember thinking when I get this metal detector, I'm like, boy, there's a whole forest out there. There could be like Civil War, silver buried somewhere or something. Maybe I'll find some big cache of gold. Or, yeah, right.
Could I get you a contract for 6 shows? Can I? Come on.
Yeah.
I got a metal detector, and the weird thing was my father's parents had a child that was died stillborn. And in the early days, the Catholic cemetery wouldn't let him be buried in the cemetery. That'd be buried just outside it. And there's a metal marker, and I think we're going to look for that grave. Crazy.
Well, that's interesting.
Yep, they weren't baptized. So, like, you're outside the hood here.
Oh, yeah. I bet you if you had paid the priest the right amount of money, they could have done it, though.
Yeah, that's the case. I don't know. When my mom died, she hasn't been to a Catholic church in 30 years. She goes to weddings, funerals. And it was the early days. She had friends she worked with in cigar factory. And one of them was getting married. And she said, Peggy, you have a nice dress. You want to be my bridesmaid? And she said, sure. So she went to the wedding. It was a Protestant wedding. This is in the 50s, 60s, whatever. And when she got back from the whole deal, they go to church and the priest is up there lecturing about how you should not participate in pagan rites. And then they tapped her and she had to go see the bishop up in Scranton. And he said, that was the wrong thing to do. Like that, then she figured out.
Yeah, I remember in high school, I got caught with books about witchcraft and demonology, and they made me go to counseling, which consisted of some priest lecturing me about the evils of the occult for an hour every day after school for 2 weeks or something, you know, which only made me want to read that stuff more, because I thought, why are they so adamant that I can't read these things? I'm not going to do anything. I just want to know what it's about, you know?
I actually bought a copy of the Necronomicon when I was in my teens. And then someone pointed out to me, like, this, was it you or somebody else pointed out to me, like, this guy wrote it for some money.
Peter Levenda. Yeah.
Got me. Got me right there.
He made $1 million off of that because the Necronomicon was a fictional book, but H.P. Lovecraft got super popular because of Metallica, and all the young people wanted to know what was in the Necronomicon, so Peter Levenda wrote one. And then they sold it through Avon Books, and they made like $1 million on that.
He owes me $10.
Yeah,
is that the
me
same?
too.
Hey, is that the same Peter Levenda working with Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so he's got a history of being a scammer. He's got a history of being a scammer. When I was a teenager, everybody interested in occult stuff had 2 books, the Necronomicon and the Satanic Bible. And those were both put out by Avon Books, which is interesting, you know?
I never had the Satanic Bible. That was a little too far for my ass.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
had
wanted to know what it was
I
about.
had the Unabomber's Manifesto there for a while. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
And the other book that everybody had to have too, Lord Ludacris, is the Anarchist Cookbook.
Oh, Lord
Yeah,
Ludacris.
yeah.
I had it was an underground chemist's cookbook, which showed how to make like coke, meth, everything, and stuff like that.
I had a
It's
good
right
friend
along.
that got that. Taught himself how to make DMT. He made
Yeah.
really good DMT and ecstasy, and then did 10 years in jail. And he just recently got out and has no desire to mess with it. Although he's like, I would really love to tell you because I could, but then I'd be violating my, like even him talking about it can like violate his terms of his probation and stuff. But he made really good stuff. Apparently, I never did any of it, but because I didn't know
Yeah,
that he
I'd be
made
a
it.
little
It
hesitant
was-
to do any drugs that somebody made in their bathtub, you know?
No, he's like a chemist. He's got a chemist degree and everything. Like two guys from my high school, chemists. One turned into a meth cook. Another one did like DMT and ecstasy and all that stuff. And one of them
Breaking
turned out-
Bad.
yeah, one of them turned out crazy. Tried to blow himself up in his lab. The other one went to jail and got out. And all that. So
Things we do when we're young and regret.
yeah, man. This was like 20 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank God all of
that's
this
where they
was
wanna get
before
you.
the internet, so it's not
like both of
you
them
know.
were going to UT. Both of them were going to the University of Tennessee for not cosmetology, but whatever it is that they were learning, chemicals and all that stuff.
I regret so
Chemistry,
much of that bullshit.
all that stuff. They learned they figured it out, and they figured that they could make more money doing that than, you know.
I don't
Which they
even want to
did.
tell you what passed
They
this
got arrested.
conversation when I was living in West Philly. It was ridiculous.
Oh,
Some
West
rich
Philly,
pen
I
kids
can
wanted to
only
make the
imagine.
whole shit.
I don't know
Make
what
the
that
what?
means.
They wanted to make everything in that book. You could go through it. This meth, coke, the DMT, this, we want to make it all. And lucky enough, they were bullshit.
Huh.
But we're young and foolish. Not that foolish.
True, man. I watched Fear and Loathing Las Vegas and was intoxicated and went into Walmart to buy a thing of ether. You know, you can't buy that at ether or at Walmart. You know, it's stupid things you do when you're 17 years old.
Ether, it's
You know
carbureted.
when when he's pouring it on and Johnny Depp's riding around the merry-go-round, whatever you want to call it. You know, and he's doing the ether with the other guy with his lawyer.
No, I never saw that part, but I know ether is carburetor cleaner.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't learn that till way later because I didn't work on cars or anything. But I just remember doing that, like, you know, stupid 17 years old being drunk, you know, after watching the movie or whatever.
Yeah, crazy world.
And that was pre 9/11.
Still was a crazy world back then.
Yeah. Not really, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I was there, and I'll verify. Yes, it was very, very crazy.
Well, I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, but I was born in the early 80s, but yeah.
Oh, you're a young man. I was born
Yeah,
in
I'm 40.
60s, so I'm 60.
40, 41.
And still learning.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, then you really did get to see. You got to see a crazy culture change between
Hell
the
yeah.
60s, 70s, and 80s. I mean,
Hell
you
yeah.
got rock and hippie music, and then you got disco and
Disco, no. Yeah. I went through that shit.
yeah,
That's the only way you could get the girls was disco.
Those cultures were changing every 10 years. It was crazy.
When I was living in West
probably
Philly, it was all
7.
punk.
It was punk?
Yeah. This is in like the 80s into the 90s. It was punk, you know, it was just taking over the shit.
That's when everybody got going up in Portland and Seattle and all that those areas too.
Well, Seattle, I always think of as grunge.
Well, grunge, grunge punk, I tend to throw them in the same basket.
Yeah. All the changes we saw. we're left here today for all of us to just like reflect.
I don't know. I was happy for grunge to come along because I was so sick of like hair metal. Like,
oh God, no. Yeah.
It just got, like, and it's like anything though. Like when hair metal or whatever you want to call hair metal, I guess glam metal first came out, it was pretty good. Like original early Motley Crue and stuff, and then it just, with all the copycats, it just got watered down and watered down and watered down and more ridiculous and more ridiculous. So it was good that grunge came and changed things. I remember having a conversation with some of my friends, like at the time, like who all wanted to be in bands, like, oh, this is so great. You don't need long hair anymore and you don't have to put on makeup to be a musician now. Like,
do you remember the band Cinderella?
Yeah, yeah.
I was at a comedy club. Actually, it was the Middle East Comedy Club, Philly.
I played the Middle East.
I remember you telling about that.
Yeah.
It was Jay
The
Leno.
guitar player, my guitar player spit on the sound man and we got thrown out of there.
Fuck yeah. Oh, sorry. Feck yeah.
Now you owe me 27 cents too.
Oh, yeah, I'll send
We're
it
up to
you.
$1 between us.
Yeah.
I was at the comedy club there, Middle East, and it was just a friend of mine who was going through medical school, and it was Jay Leno was doing his last run of acts before he got to the Tonight Show gig. And sitting next to us was a band called Cinderella. And they were making a lot of trips to the bathroom. And they said, there's some lawyer from the Jersey coast that was going to get them big. And it was 1 year later, they were on like MTV Music Awards. Long story short.
Well, that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah,
they made
I
it.
always like that song, that Cinderella song, Save Me. I remember that.
I don't, but I just remember the band there. There were the hair and all that stuff going on.
The hair and the makeup and yeah.
Yeah, it was memorable for that.
When I started in music, that's what everybody was. When I first started trying to be in bands, everybody was glam metal and I went to Catholic school, so I couldn't have long hair or whatever, I was like misfit. I didn't fit into that mold very well.
May I ask you, are you going balding or anything? I'm talking to
me?
Steve. Yeah.
Am I balding?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, but I guess my widow's peaks are getting higher every couple of years.
Yeah. I'm balding.
I am.
Yeah. I always look at old men that aren't balding and I think there's something wrong with them, but that's just me.
Or they got plugs when they were younger, maybe.
There's something wrong with you. Start shaving, Steve.
Yeah, I remember when I first started in music, there was some band, I think they were called Razzle Dazzle, and they were a glam metal band.
I'm with you. Yeah.
And they in Philly, and I would just go and hang out with them, and these guys were like the ugliest guys I've ever seen. They were so ugly. And but they all had long hair and they wore like lipstick and makeup like poison. And the girls were like so hot and were like hanging on every word, and I was like, I gotta be in a band. I gotta start a band. Like, I just gotta start a band.
Do you remember Baru Review?
No, I don't think so.
Baru Review from Philly. They were like early 90s, and Buzz used to sleep on my floor after their shows and stuff like that. But they didn't have the makeup and stuff, so they didn't make it.
Yeah, they didn't fit.
No, the music was actually pretty good. It had a lot of fourth stuffs going on. It was sort of jazzy. It was like there, but not the seventh chords.
Oh, I think Philly music scene was really good for a long time, but I got tired of the whole situation of promoting like crazy to get 100 people to come to a show and pay $8 a beer, and then they gave you $50 for your whole band for the night. It was like, thanks.
I remember Revival had a bathtub full of beer, and that's all we got. And during the show, some like rich kids wanted to sneak in through the side door. And I said, dude, if you want to get in here, give me $20. And they just handed it over. And I let those people in. And it was the next day, we had a show to do up in Ithaca, New York. And our lead guitarist, Mark, and stuff, like, we had no money. And like, I didn't tell them I had the 20 friggin' bucks. We were starving. And I said, dude, I got the $20. Let's buy a pizza. Was I wrong?
You know, I'm
No,
sure.
you weren't wrong.
Besides the Ferens, I'm sure that I played Revival. Look, did you know on YouTube there's old videos of Revival shows, these old punk rock shows and stuff?
Well, I can guarantee you when our band was
Look at
called.
that. For
With
people
Mark
that are like, what the hell are they talking about? This is an old Philly nightclub Revival, live at Club Revival.
Oh my God, that was it. That's not anybody I know.
I don't know,
That was
somebody
it.
named Turning
That's how it
Point.
worked.
Yeah.
When we played there, right before us, there was some band that came on, and video cameras were sort of new then, and we realized it was a rich band, and like 5 video cameras came out of the audience to like film them. Nobody came to film The Question. Our band was called The Question. And
That's a good name for a band.
They actually sued. Mark had a band meeting with us, just almost like if you ever seen the Flight of the Conchords when they have band meetings. And Mark said there's some band in California that's getting attention. It's called The Question. We got to sue them. Between all of us, Jake, the drummer, had a landscaping business. He was the only one that had any kind of cash in his hand. So we're going to sue this band from Venice Beach. It calls themselves The Question because we had the name before they did.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hey, I got a quick question for you, Stephen, before I jump off here. Sorry, it's changed from music. Did you get a chance to read that article about the guy writing the book from Shaman and Schuster? It's picking it up that Elizondo is
and Elizondo's
endorsed.
pumping him. But what people need to know is that the Tom DeLonge and Lou Elizondo and that guy all have the same agent.
They do.
I think that's interesting. So they're all, it's the grifters. They grift together. They're all promoting each other, right?
You know, this guy's story reminds me of the dude that built the rockets in his garage at 17, right? I can't remember his name.
David Adair.
51. David Adair. And then it also seems like it's mixed in with another guy that's famous that drank some fluid and then woke up and realized that he had been working for a program, for 6 or 8 weeks, and they erased his mind, and all he had was a pay stub. There's that guy too. It reminds me of both of those stories.
Yeah, and it also reminds me of Corey Good's story. Like he basically is claiming that he was like recruited as a child and became some kind of super soldier or like Manchurian candidate, mind controlled. He doesn't remember X, Y, or Z, and so we'll see. We'll see what that pans out to. But I think it's going to pan out to one big money grab. He's going to be one of the new personalities making the rounds. That guy.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, Lou's got his book coming out too, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Well, they got to keep pushing it back because Lou keeps getting these big hits that prove that he lied so much that I think the publishers got nervous. He might have his book might have gotten dropped from his publisher for all we know.
Maybe. The newspapers keep plugging Lou's false credentials all the every time they get a chance. It's in the paper that he ran it. But in that article that was released by the I guess the book company or whatever, talked about a doctor from the CIA that this guy saw. So I'll be curious if that could be like
Gary Nolan.
Gary Nolan was who I was thinking first.
Yeah.
And then it had remote viewing. Then all of a sudden he was able to remote view. It's like it's back to the chosen people.
Exactly.
Right? You do something, you do something good, maybe, and then all of a sudden you've done good things spiritually. I don't know. It's weird. It's like the guy gained it because he did good things. And I don't know. I'm trying to understand.
Well, they burned out all the UFO stories, so now they got to go into the woo to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
I never knew what woo was till I followed Spaced Out Radio, which led me to Goof On.
He's the conductor of the woo train. Yeah, he's the conductor of the woo train.
I never heard of woo. What was woo? That's just me.
Yeah, that's all the craziest stuff. That's all the wacky stuff, All right. Well, I think we're going to throw you guys out of here and wrap things up.
Yep,
So I
sounds
appreciate
good.
you both being here. Thanks for Ambulax and Lord Ludacris.
All right.
Thank
Pleasure,
you for having
Lord.
us.
Pleasure,
Hey,
Steve.
thank y'all.
All right.
Thank
You guys
y'all.
have a good night. Good night. Good night. All right. Well, we're going to call this one a quick one compared to the rest of the shows this week, which were 3 or 4 hours. I have all this stuff that I have to do tonight, including I have to clean this office. I have a documentary film crew coming here, and this is the only room in my home that my wife will not clean. So that leaves it to me to be the person to do that. And it's not that bad, but it's a cluttered mess in here, and I don't even know where I'm putting half of this stuff. And by the way, I also should mention that we're going to be moving our broadcast location to Studio B. Some of you are aware, every year when it starts getting warmer, I'm unable to do shows in here because this is the smallest room in the house. It's sort of an attic room. There's only one window, which is right back here. And if you don't blast an air conditioner in here the entire time you're in here in the later spring, summer, and fall, early fall, you can't sit in here. It is like 110 degrees in here. But I can't run the air conditioner and do the show at the same time because the audio files will complain, and it may be rightfully so. I don't want to hear that humming through two or 3 hour show. So I'll be escaping to our alternate streaming location here. I have to clean this studio, clean this office, and then get that set up for next week because it's already too hot in here. But again, there's no ventilation. Like I have the window covered with the backdrop, and it's just a strange situation. But I'm going to try to get a little more creative with the Studio B and do something a little different than what we have been doing here in the primary office and studio that I stream and work from. So I'm excited about that. We're going to get some weird new lights, and I'm going to have a couch and some other things in the alternate streaming location. So what we're going to be doing is in-person interviews. So instead of everything virtual, people are going to come here, sort of like Joe Rogan or some of these other shows that you see, Lex Friedman, and actually be in the same room having a conversation. I have a setup for that, sort of half put together, and 3 cameras for that setup. It should be interesting, and I like to keep things different and keep changing things. I mentioned earlier that because of the increased censorship and getting YouTube videos demonetized, it's more important than ever to remind you that we are a viewer-supported show. So here's Mr. Ian to remind you how you too can support our show.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
Praise the cash. Just want to do a quick tutorial on how to set up Amazon Prime to Twitch. So if you want to help out Truthseekers show and Steven, I want to put together a quick tutorial. Now, I'm not an expert on this, so I was just playing around. This is how I did it. So you may find a different way to do it, but if you're not sure, I'm going to walk through what I did. First, right up here in Prime Loot. Now, this is on a PC and not Apple. May be different, but at least you're going to see what I'm doing on my laptop. You're going to see Prime Loot up here. Click that on. And here you're going to have in the purple box to activate your free trial, and it's free. So you just go through that. It'll take you to Prime Gaming. From here, you'll see how to activate your Prime Gaming. I don't think this is necessary to get your free subscription to Twitch from Amazon Prime. I just went and did it because I wasn't sure and I was playing around. So if you're not sure if you want to do this, just skip it and go to the next step. Then over, if you do your drop down on your Amazon account, you're going to have this here to say link Twitch account. So I'm going to click that. And all this is going to do, it's going to link your Amazon account with your Twitch account. So you click link down there in that little button, and it's going to have what is your Twitch name and then your name on your Amazon account. And I'm going to have my name blurred out just so everybody's not seeing it. I'm going to click confirm, and it's going to go through the processes. And now my Amazon account is linked to my Twitch account. I go back to Twitch and I'm on the Truthseekers show, and right here you got Steven's face there. Just come down here to subscribe, click that, and it's going to bring you all the way down here. Now you can subscribe for $4.99. This is very similar to the YouTube membership where you can become a member on the YouTube side or watch it for free. Here you can subscribe to his channel and pay $4.99 a month, or you can come up here and click this little box, say use Prime sub. Now it's free. Now I get 1 month. Now the thing is every month I have to go out there and resubscribe. Hopefully they're going to send me an email to remind me to do that. Then I can go out there and I can click this every month, and Steve's going to get some money from Amazon. We do not pay for that. This is part of my Amazon Prime subscription. That this is just one of the services. And I didn't realize it, but Amazon bought Twitch. That's the reason they're putting these two together. So I'm going to do click the subscribe button. Now I am subscribed. I got a founder badge and I got some different stuff, and close. And now I am subscribed. I did not pay anything. However, Steven gets some money to help producing the top quality programming that he's been doing. So go out there and praise the cash and sign up for Twitch subscription, especially if you got Prime. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps Steven out. Thanks.
Thank you. Sent to us by viewer. That's my favorite way for people to help the show, is to take free money from Jeff Bezos and give it to the show. And that's how you can do that. You just link. If you don't already have a Twitch account, just sign up. It only takes a few minutes. And then if you have an Amazon Prime account, you go to your Amazon Prime account settings and link your Twitch account. Then you go back to Twitch and you can subscribe to our channel and give us a couple of bucks for free. It's included in your Amazon Prime membership. So we'll take a few comments and questions from the live chat. DJ Dees is here and says, more good times in the chat. Have a swell evening day, everyone. All the best. Yeah, and I saw somebody ask about tomorrow night's show. There likely won't be one. We're likely done for the week. I'm going to be off to the cabin tomorrow. I posted this on Twitter, so I'll share it here. When I built my first cabin, I worked out of a tent. The old tent got thrown in my shed. I can't find the poles, and that tent has seen better days. I found this one on Facebook Marketplace this weekend. I set up camp at the new land, and I will soon begin building the new cabin studio. So I got a big cabin wall tent. This is like a 7-person tent or 6 or 7-person tent, but it's plenty for me there to keep the tools out of the out of the rain and out of the weather. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend. We're going to find those property lines. We're going to set up camp at the new land, and shortly after this weekend, I can begin building the new studio on the new land in the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. There is absolutely no neighbors for miles and miles and miles, nothing but beautiful forest. It's kind of like having your own forest. I have been doing an incredible amount of hiking around that land, trying to get the lay of the land. And so far, I think I found a spring, but I'm not sure, which would be good to have some water source nearby. There is lots and lots of what they call roads, what I would call hiking trails all around that land. So for, I don't know, tens of square miles, there is nothing but forest. And I'm hopeful I might be getting a quad, a four-wheel drive, four-wheel, sort of motorcycle thing, a quad. And that should help with both the building of the new studio, because I'm going to have to be dragging a lot of heavy logs back to the build site. And yeah, so that's what I'm up to this weekend. I'm working on the old cabin bathroom, the first cabin, finishing off that bathroom, and I'm setting up camp at the new location. And it's going to be both fun and a kind of a pain. I have to hike in from that back road. I have to hike about a mile into to the actual land with all of the tent, and I've got a big bin full of cabin building hand tools. We've got hatchets, and I've got hand drills and hammers and axes and something called a draw knife that you use to peel the bark off the logs and things like that. So I'm going to be huffing a lot of things, supplies, tools, a tent, and other materials. I think I have like a propane stove if I don't feel like using the campfire, but mostly it's going to be a campsite for a while. And that is pretty much how I started the other cabin. Started out of a tent and later out of a camping trailer. The camping trailer I have, though, at the other cabin, I would like to move that to the new location, but I really can't because we use that for guests. Sometimes my wife's sisters come, and it's nice to have that camping trailer for them to sleep in or stay in. It's got its own kitchen and bathroom and things. So that'll be staying at the cabin. So it's okay. I'm going to be roughing it at the new land in this not so little tent. It's plenty big for a cot and a place to store the tools and things like that. I'll be setting up a fire pit, which is the most important part of any camp. You got to have a big, nice fire pit. There's plenty of stones everywhere. So yeah, I'm going to be setting up camp at the new location. Can't wait to get started over there. We have done our due diligence. That's 4 live shows for the week, including tonight. If I have some time over the weekend, I will check in. And I have a whole backpack here. I have a backpack here that is filled with camera equipment and power bricks to recharge the cameras or my phone. I've got a Bluetooth speaker in here, and so we got to have music. The good news is there is 1 or 2 bars of cell phone coverage, so I should be able to stream from Spotify or Amazon Music, hopefully. So I'm packed up and ready to go. I've got new hand drills and a new hatchet, and I feel like a Boy Scout again. I'm going to go set up camp, and we're going to have a studio there in the woods, in the beautiful Pennsylvania mountains, the Pocono Mountains. I could not ask for a better location, and I want to thank everybody. People have been emailing me who live somewhere in the vicinity of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, around here, saying, if you need help, Stephen, I'll come. And what I have decided to do is I am going to open up that other land, the campsite, to guests. I have the one tent, which I showed to you, and I have another tent that's big like that, but I can't find the poles. So we're going to have to figure something out, make some new poles, but I'm going to put that tent up too. And also, if people come to stay, if people come to help me build that studio, because people are volunteering, and I've decided that instead of, that first cabin, it's taken me 5 years, but I did almost everything myself with a few exceptions. My wonderful neighbor, Matt, at the cabin helped me put the roofs on and some other things. He installed the wood burning stoves and the pipe for that, because that's something you want done right, and he's expert in doing these type of things. He helped me with the electrical, but mostly I built that entire 1,000 square foot cabin by myself, but it took me almost 5 years now. We're just finishing up. I got to finish a few things in that bathroom, and I have to slap a porch on it, and we're calling that cabin done. I don't want it to take 5 years for me to build this studio. And considering that new studio will be something like, 16 by 50 with a second floor, it could take me years to build it. I've decided that since so many kind and generous show viewers and people are offering to help. We've got Wreaking Havoc is a stonemason. He's going to come and help me build a fireplace, a big, beautiful stone fireplace, all from stone and materials on the land. Other people I've had a few people say, I don't know anything about building cabins, but if you need help dragging logs around and stuff, sure. So I don't have the specific details yet, but what I will say is that if you are anywhere within, if you can drive to Warminster, Pennsylvania, or the town where the cabin is called Newfoundland, Pennsylvania. So just Google where the post offices are. If you can drive there to either location, you can either drive to my home here and I'll drive you to the cabin, or you can drive direct to the cabin if you prefer to be in your own vehicle. We will be providing food and refreshments and good fellowship to all that want to help. We're going to build a big ass cabin studio for the future, and you can help if that's something that appeals to you. You can reach me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Let me find that. People get that email address wrong. It's one truthseeker and then the word show @gmail.com. I would be happy to host any of you who would like to come and be a part of the grand adventure of building a beautiful studio in the woods out of trees and trash. We are going to be trading a lot of labor for financial resources. There's 2 ways I could build this studio. The first way is that I could go to a lumber mill and I could buy $5,000 or $10,000 worth of lumber and siding and insulation and material, or maybe $20,000. The cost of materials is so high. I could buy a dump truck full of all the materials for 20 or 25 grand, get it over there and just build that whole place very quickly with generators, with power tools, with, nail guns. But I've decided I'm not doing that. Firstly, for financial reasons. And secondly, it just does not appeal very much to me to just go to Home Depot or a lumber mill and buy everything, and then it just doesn't appeal to me. What appeals to me is building with natural materials and resources found on the land. These old ways, these forgotten ways of building things or constructing things out of, trees, logs, appeals to me immensely. The problem comes that trade-off, there's always a trade-off. So we'll save all that money on the materials. We will not be spending 20 or 25 grand on materials to build this structure. The downside is that we will be trading time and manpower and labor in order to harvest enough of logs and trees from the forest to build this whole structure, or as much of it as possible, out of 100% natural materials found in the forest. That's what I'm going to do. And if you have an interest in learning how to do that, I'm no expert, but I am one cabin in. So this will be my second major big cabin project. Will be a big cabin studio, which I think I'm bouncing the designs back and forth, but I think it's going to be 16 feet by 48 feet long. There's a lot of things to work out still. I think that, though, the first project there will be a small cabin, just so we have a place to get away from the bears should they decide to be assholes. And I don't feel very comfortable on this land with just a tent. Like, if there's a bear, you could go in that tent. The bear don't care about a tent, but a physical wood structure will keep a bear out if you really have to escape a bear. So I think the first project there, besides setting up camp this weekend, I'm going to begin a very small cabin, like 12 by 12 or something like that, which will eventually just be like a tool shed or something. But for the time being, it will be good to have a solid wood structure, much better than just a tent. The whole adventure begins, and many people, I think Ron from Cosmic Neighbors and maybe Anthony from Unidentified S4 may be coming to visit again. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm not just going to throw you in a tent in a forest full of bears everywhere. We'll be going there during the day and working on this cabin studio project, but then we'll be going back to the very comfortable cabin that you saw that Ron and Anthony and maybe a few others have come from to visit. And there's comfortable sleeping quarters. There's a full kitchen and bathroom and showers and everything there. So I'm not gonna just throw you out in the woods for the weekend. You'll be out in the woods with me trying to figure out how to build a studio for no money out of trees and trash during the day. And then at night, we'll go back to the original cabin, which is about 4 miles away and extremely comfortable. We've got everything there. We've got, internet and electricity and everything. This other place that we're building there's nothing there. There's no electricity. There's no power lines. There's no internet. There's no water lines. There's nothing. It's just straight, pure woods. And that is my kind of place. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that I am receptive to people visiting if they choose that they want to help. I decided that if the universe is going to offer you help or assistance in a major, huge project, you shouldn't be so quick to say no. But one thing I will say is that if you are how do I say this politely? I don't want to be around anybody that's into hard drugs. For my own recovery's sake, it's not good. So if you're into any kind of hard drugs, cannabis and alcohol is fine. That won't bother me one bit. As long as you don't get insanely crazy on that, it's fine. Doesn't bother me. But if you're into anything harder than that, please don't come and do that at my cabin or anywhere near me. I just And by the way, God bless you if you're into that and you think, that's fine for you to do. It's fine for you to do, but I don't want to be around anybody into any hard drugs based on my history and my current recovery. But by the way, though I'm not drinking now, I'm fine with being around people that are drinking. I'm at that point in my recovery from alcohol that I can be around people that are drinking and it doesn't trigger me or make me want to drink or anything. That doesn't bother me. Cannabis doesn't bother me one bit. But when you get into anything, harder, I prefer not to be around people that are on that, have a whole history. And in my current state of recovery, I don't want to be around people doing any hard drugs. Ice Rain J says, are you worried about Sasquatch? No, but there are plenty of Sasquatch sightings in that area. So if you want to come, hey, maybe we'll look for Bigfoot at night. We'll try building this cabin studio during the day, and then at night we could go look for Bigfoot, right? And if Anthony and Ron are there, they got like night vision cameras and all kinds of stuff. We could have some fun. Dawn Richardson says, it would be good to get the kids involved in your project. Yes, but my wife is nervous about the bears as well. So I don't think the children will be visiting until there's at least a solid structure there. But, maybe we'll change, it depends. I'm sure the last time I was there, I saw a bear. But the bear just sauntered off. It wasn't a threat or anything like that. But yeah, I am sure that for those unaware, my oldest son is Zachary is nonverbal autistic. He wouldn't be very much help. He'd be running around in the woods getting lost, and that would be bad. But Xavier's interested in helping. He's my 6-year-old son. He's interested in building his own cabin over there, so maybe I'll help him do that as well. But the first order of business will be to get the camp set up, which I'm doing this weekend. I'm going there with a metal detector and a 300-foot measuring tape. Try to stake off the borders of the property before I start building anything. But I'll be setting up the tent, setting up the fire ring, just setting up camp. And I can't wait. I love it. I feel like a Boy Scout again. And I grew up in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, and my dad was very big into camping. He took us all over the place. He used to drive us. Me and my brother were like, oh, do we have to go again? My dad liked winter camping, which is crazy, and we went to these cabins that were old and drafty and only had a fireplace, but we always had a good time. And I miss that stuff. That's probably why I'm doing this now. I'm like a old Boy Scout in the woods now. And that's interesting, actually. When I was moving, I found in my parents' basement, I found all my old like Cub Scout manuals, and they're at the cabin now on a shelf. And I look at those and I just laugh, because all of those camping trips, all of those adventures as a child with my father and my brother and all my friends from the neighborhood that were also Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and Weeblos and whatever, all of that led to finding a cabin in the woods, which is great. So I have done my due diligence for the week, and I think it's funny. Like, I feel like I'm always working on something, but to me, the cabin work is downtime. I love it. I love every minute of me being there. And this weekend is the first weekend where it's really going to be warm enough. I'm having probably the first campfire of the year, which I love. Campfire therapy, I call it. It's cheaper than a psychiatrist, and you get s'mores, right? And maybe hot cocoa. I love those times around the campfire. And at the first cabin, the main cabin, I got a lot of cleaning up to do. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you have a cabin in the woods, the way you clean up is you have a big campfire. And I've got a lot of now that the cabin is getting finished, there's a lot of stuff that's been like old wood that I thought I might need for something. It's just been laying in the yard, and I'm going to get that all cleaned up this weekend, have a big campfire. I can't wait. And I get to set up the campsite at the new land, and we'll be starting on building that new dream real soon now. I can't wait. But I want to thank all of you who have reached out and offered to come and help try to build this thing. And like I said, no experience necessary. If you can carry a log, you're hired, right? And you can ask Ron and you can ask Anthony from Unidentified S4. The cabin is very comfortable, and I like to feed people. So we'll have some great food and great fellowship, and we'll have a great time. And hey, it's a free vacation. I'll work you, though. I need somebody to carry 8,000 pounds of stone for the fireplace for wreaking havoc to get over there and start building a fireplace. So, and I need, we got to drag I'm going to try to build a lot of this out of fallen trees or standing dead. We don't want to cut live trees down, but there's plenty of trees that have fallen that are just laying in the forest. And before they rot, we grab them and we drag them back to the build site, debark them, delimb them, and throw them in a pile, and they'll be building materials for the new place. Terry Brown, snipe hunting. Yes. Oh, I'm taking some of you people snipe hunting. Yes. Keeping busy is good. Being outdoors is good for mental health. I need to get out more. Just walking in my neighborhood on my breaks, I feel better. Yeah, absolutely. Outdoor. Did you know that one treatment for depression that's used in a lot of other countries, not the United States, is nature therapy? They tell people to get outside. I don't know, me. I try. I'm very thankful for that cabin and that other land. I have plenty of places I can go hiking, fishing, canoeing, kayaking, rowboating, whatever I want to do. And you're right. I always feel better. I always feel better. No matter what's going on, if I go do that, I feel better. Gorilla Gamer says, kids today need to experience summer camp like I did as a kid. Yeah, well, if nothing else, I've got a campsite for life over there at this other place. Too bad you're in Florida, where you could come and hang out, Gorilla Gamer. Everybody's welcome. The one thing I ask is, like I said, if you're into really hard drugs, I just don't want to be around people that are into hard drugs. If you want to drink, bring it with you, because I don't have any alcohol there. Being dry myself right now, being almost a year alcohol free, I just don't have it. But there is places right nearby the cabin if you want to get lit or get some alcohol. There's plenty of places right near the cabin where you can pick up stuff. I don't care about cannabis. I'm California sober myself. I do that myself. That doesn't bother me, but the hard drugs is kind of a deal breaker for me. I just don't like being around people that are that high. I don't know how else to say it. It makes me uncomfortable. But anything else goes. Yeah. And Christian Fountain wished I was closer. Yeah, I think we're going to try to do, and Christian Fountain, we're going to try to do an event this summer. I'm going to call it Contact in the Mountains. And it's going to be a free event. Bring a tent, bring a sleeping bag, something. I'll have some tents. We'll have some fun, right? Adaptable says, awesome stream, Stephen. Always enjoy hanging out with you and everyone in the chat. Thanks, and God bless you all. Thank you, and glad to see you. And we want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors, you Patreon supporters. By the way, there's a new music album on Patreon and in the members section here on YouTube, free for members or Patreon supporters. We want to thank you Patreon supporters, you channel members, you super chatters, you PayPal pledgers, you Twitch subscribers, super chatters, you PayPal pledgers, super sticker purchasers, and you super thanks people. Did you know that you could throw money at us anytime now? Just hit the thanks button if you're watching a replay. And we thank every one of you for your kindness, your generosity, and support in helping us to praise the cash, especially in this era of censorship where my videos are getting demonetized for telling people the truth about people like David Wilcock and Corey Good and their nonsense. They're monetized. our videos get demonetized. So we do appreciate the support. It really, really does help. So we've done our due diligence for the week. I am feeling a little better recovering from the COVID stuff. I think almost at 100%. I'm still feeling a little tired and a little lethargic. I just don't feel like doing much. And that's not good because I got a lot of stuff to do. And we also want to thank all of our callers tonight. And we want to thank you for being there in the live chat. We want to thank the chat room moderators. We want to thank Spooky for the excellent graphics. And by the way, safe journeys, Spooky. Spooky knows what I mean. Safe journeys, Spooky. So I, like I mentioned, I do have a documentary film crew coming here to film in a couple of days. I got to clean this place. So I'm going to bounce on out of here. We've done our due diligence for the week. My thanks for everybody. We had a great week here of attendance. Super stoked that the numbers are popping back up. That taking a few days off kills the momentum here, but we're getting back into the swing of things. So I'm not sure when I'll be back, but you could follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion, or you could join our Discord, and I announce everything before it happens, either on Twitter or in our Discord. You can also follow me on Facebook. It's just Stephen Cambion. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you. And safe journeys, Spooky.
Sometimes what we need is a soulful song that can bring us all together, heal our hearts. But in times like these, we might need a song like this. I still want to learn to play piano. I could be practicing every day. I keep saying I'd love to start running. I'd be in shape if I had my way. But there were always aliens to think about, Illuminati and the puppet state. Chemtrails poisoning the populace. No use trying, it's much too late. Big croc conspiracy, wacko shit. truth I never will admit. It's only an excuse to quit. Conspiracy and wacko shit. I spend my days hiding in the basement, isolated as I can get. I sink down deep into my wormhole, the dark side of the internet. I might have liked to drive across America, camping out in the old RV. I'm too scared of Q and on and on and on. They'll hack my brain with the new 5G. Big crock, conspiracy, wacko shit. Deadlock, the truth I never will admit. Gives me an excuse to quit. Conspiracy, wacko shit. Fist clenched, strangling my iPad, apocalyptically entertained. I'm sweat drenched, paranoid it's this bad, pure adrenaline in my veins. At least I finally see I have no choices, 'cause everyone's controlled by the deep state. Long as we believe in unseen forces, we never even try to change our fate. Big crock, conspiracy, wacko shit. Deadlock, the truth I never will admit. It's only an excuse to quit. Conspiracy, wacko shit. It's only an excuse to quit. Conspiracy, wacko shit.